Texas A&M hosts Notre Dame this weekend. Do we have those current lines up right now, Blaine?
Yeah, I believe it's...
Is it back down to 2.5 or is it 3 still?
2.5.
2.5. I tell you, man, this one, I'm really excited about this one just because of the style of head coach that we have here, two defensive guys. And you know, sitting there looking and you look who returns what and you know, how you feel like they're going to be up front. This Notre Dame team is very interesting to me because I think they're kind of built the opposite of what they have been in the past. And not just because you lost Joe Alt and Blake Fisher, both your tackles, but you lost your up-and-coming phenom, Charles Jagaza, during fall camp, going up against the Texas A&M front seven that you need to be firing on all cylinders to be able to protect. And I think Notre Dame is weaker on the offensive line this year and stronger at the skill position than they have been in a while. I think Riley Leonard's a better player than Sam Hartman. I think what they have, you know, at wide receiver this year, some of those younger guys that have grown up, some of the moves they made through the portal, I think Notre Dame is better at the skill position out wide. But when I look at Mike Elko and Marcus Freeman, the first thing I think is under. Because I look at 46.5, I say, all right, Mike Elko's first year at Texas A&M, he's a defensive guy, right? He doesn't have all those guys in there, but he's got some pretty good personnel. Notre Dame's in year 3. That defense is going to be humming again under Marcus Freeman. I think you're going to have two very conservative approaches on whether or not you're going for it on 4th down to kick a field goal, whether or not you're going for it on 4th down or you're going to punt. And I think you have two quarterbacks that are also coming off injuries, and defensive coordinators know you want to set the tone in the run game first and build everything off of that. So I think early in this game, it's going to be a lot of feeling out process. I think A&M's going to be playing in the backfield of Notre Dame a decent amount. I'm wondering how much Denbrock, the OC at Notre Dame, is going to move Riley Leonard when he realizes that they're struggling in pass pro just on the normal 3-step and 5-step and stuff like that. There's a plan in place for that. Then when you look at Notre Dame's defense, yes, they're going to be solid. It's a Marcus Freeman coach unit. This secondary was really, really strong last year. Is Texas A&M talented enough on the outside with guys they brought in to be able to get open even if they can protect? So I'm leaning under early here. I don't officially want to put in a bet. I like A&M at home for this reason. Yes, Riley Leonard has experience, okay, but you lost both those tackles. You got another new tackle that you're going to have to bump somebody over to tackle or put a backup in and then put a backup in as a starter somewhere. Like, that's got to happen. The communication between Riley Leonard and this offensive line in Kyle Field, I feel like is going to make a huge difference. Early in this game, I think A&M is going to get up. I think they're going to lean on them, and that's when the play action in the second half is really going to come into play for Texas A&M. I like A&M early right now, but I like this to be a feeling out, low-scoring, low-risk play calling, low-risk potential when it comes to special teams for fakes and things like that. Man, I could see this a 2017 game very, very easily, but I like A&M right now.
I agree with you on the under, especially early in that first half. I like your thinking on that. Right now, as we sit here on a Monday on Bet Online, Notre Dame's getting a full 3. So +3 Notre Dame right this second, +130 on the money line. And like you said, 46.5 on the over-under, 22.5 in the first half. I'm really interested to see, you were talking about how much does Denbrock move Riley Leonard when things, you know, really get tight in the box. That was one of my favorite aspects of his game last year when he was at Duke, being coached by Mike Elko, was his ability to move outside the pocket. Obviously, he had to deal with some injuries. Same thing really with Connor Wegman on the other side. So I'm just hoping both of these guys can stay healthy because they're two of my favorite quarterbacks to watch. I think Notre Dame needs to win this football game. Not in a sense that if they don't, they can't make the college football playoff. They could run the table, and 11-1 would get them in with their brand recognition. But I'm just talking about in terms of all the expectations that they've had for the last couple years. You got one of the better quarterbacks out of the portal a year ago in Sam Hartman, but when they had to play the Buckeyes in those tight games, they didn't show up, right? Now, again, you go get one of the best quarterbacks in the portal in Riley Leonard. You need to go on the road and win in a hostile environment like this with a new head coach at Texas A&M.
Well, and Blaine, I want to throw this to you, too. I want to make this point. It's funny because I'm worried about the same thing, but on opposite ends, like the inverse of it. For Notre Dame, I'm worried about the edge of the line of scrimmage. I'm worried about, I know A&M can beef it up front and stop the run. I think this team can. It's when you get in third and passing, can you hold up on the edges of the line of scrimmage at tackle, going against those ends, going against the pressures you're going to get. But then on the flip side, A&M not having Bryce Foster, right? Some of the guys in the middle. Notre Dame's strength, I think, on the defensive line is the interior with the two guys they bring back. They got two of the best interior pass rushers in the country. And we always talk about you don't have to be a geometry major to know the quickest way to get to 2 points is a straight line. It's a lot easier to get to the quarterback in a three-step from the three tech or the shade from the interior of that defensive line. So will A&M be able to control the inside of Notre Dame's defensive line? And that includes in the run game as well, because you can blow up a run quicker than anything from the interior line of scrimmage. So that's the battle I'm going to be looking at. We can talk about wide receivers and DBs and all this stuff, this and that and the wiffle ball bat, and that's great. I'm going to be watching the line of scrimmage, the edge for Notre Dame, the interior for Texas A&M. That's where I think the game's going to be wonderful.
This is going to be a physical damn football game, and I can't wait to watch it. I kind of go back to what David says. The first thing I think about in this game is health. All right? You go back to Riley Leonard when he was at Duke. Riley Leonard was a runner before he's a thrower. If you watched him play, he's a runner before a thrower. How do you neutralize a really good front seven? Quarterback run, right? Quarterback run. How many times? I didn't bring you here to be cautious, all right? I didn't bring you here to do that. I brought you here to do the things that you do best, and that is run the football if that's Riley Leonard. So he's going to be a lot of the production when it comes to the running game in my idea. But I do think from Texas A&M, from a two-deep standpoint, this is a damn good football team. And I think a lot of people, if you watch Kyle Wegman before he got hurt, he was one of the best in the nation. You could have that argument. I think Texas A&M is going to be different. I think they're going to surprise a lot of people. I still question Notre Dame's skill position players. I don't know if they're good enough.
What have you heard? What have you heard out of A&M during this offseason? Nothing. No drama, no arrests, no coach back and forth. You know what they're doing? They're blocking and tackling. They're worrying about making sure I'm covering the right guy. They're worrying about if I'm in R3 on kickoff, I'm going to stay in my lane. If we're going to twist, I'm going to replace with R2 or R4. That's what they're worried about. And I think that's who Texas A&M is. I think this is going to be a very, very, very simple game, a very, very, very physical game. I'm so interested between two defensive coaches. Which one will take the chance first?
It has to be Notre Dame.
Which one will take the chance first? Because I think Mike Elko's, he's like, I'm at home. I'm not gonna go out of my way to do anything stupid. But Blaine, to your point, I understand, yes, the only true way to get a hat on a hat in football in the run game is quarterback to run, right? Because it's 11 versus 11. When the quarterback hands the ball off, unless you play for Les Miles, he's not blocking, it's 11 on 10. When the quarterback runs, it's truly 11 on 11 because the running back can block. But if I'm Notre Dame, yes, I want to win the game. Georgia Tech said, we'll run Haynes King if we have to run Haynes King to win this game. And that was smart for them to do. And we know that big backup they had who came in on one of those early drives and pounded in for a touchdown. If you're Notre Dame, I know we're not in a conference, but how much am I really going to run Riley Leonard early in this game knowing that what A&M has on defense, is that worth the risk of, especially if it's tight back and forth? Now, all of a sudden, if A&M comes out and they're up 14-0 and Notre Dame's got no answers, hey, you might have to start pulling some of that true QB run game out, whether it's power read, whether it's Q power, whether it's Q counter. But until you make me do it, I think Marcus Freeman's going to be like, I don't know if I'm going to throw Riley to the wolves just
I like
yet.
Blaine's point. We brought you here for a reason.
This
is the Bourbon Bowl.
Yeah.
This is the Bourbon Bowl.
I get it. Look, if it's fourth and goal, and we got to have it. That's fine. Third down, you got to go get it.
I think it's respect to A&M, how good they are. They're front seven. They're that good.
Hey, YouTube, what's up? We are almost to 150,000 subs. We want to get there before kickoff this weekend. So if you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button. We really appreciate it.